Hello and good morning to my 1,776 YouTube channel subscribers. Hope you guys are having a nice day. I'm currently on my walk to the church on Sunday morning, and I just wanted to do a quick video about the ultimate NES Nintendo top-loading console with the AV mods in 2025. The best kind of, if you was interested in buying a Nintendo, the original NES Nintendo, I would strongly recommend buying a Nintendo NES top loader with the AV modifications on it. Now, the first time I bought a Nintendo, well, actually I did buy it. My parents bought it for me for Christmas, and I believe it was 1985 or 1986. When the Nintendo first came out, I got one, and it was so much fun. And when you first purchase the Nintendo console and you first open it up brand new out the box, out of the wrapper, you'll put the games in there. The games will work just fine. However, after having the Nintendo NES for a year or two, because of the dust problems and the configuration, like a VCR where you put the cartridge in and press down on it, you would have the cartridges would have a tough time working, and then you had to blow on them, and then eventually, your console would just be hard to use or hard to play games. So that was my experience in the 1980s with the NES, and then when the Super Nintendo came out, I upgraded to the Super Nintendo. I believe that was about 1992 when the Super Nintendos came out. Maybe it was 91. And then the Super Nintendo is a top loading console. Hey, Chris Decker. Now I bought the Super Nintendo that came out was a top loading Nintendo, and then the games played a lot easier. The Super Nintendo was a lot reliable than the regular NES, and so that was my experience with the Nintendo. The NES and the Super Nintendo in the 1980s, 1990s. And then and then I moved on and I got the, so I went from the NES Nintendo to the Super Nintendo to the Nintendo 16, or what was it, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64. And then I think I had the Nintendo Wii, and I think the PlayStation before that, PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I had all them game systems. And then my girlfriend and I was talking about how we missed playing Super Mario 3 and Zelda. And I wasn't playing my PS5. I just had to sit in the closet for months. And so I ended up selling my PlayStation 5. And we was going to buy a NES Nintendo. And so I called around to the pawn shops. The pawn shop said they had one for $70. And so I went into the pawn shop to try to buy a Nintendo NES for $70, and it would work for like a minute, then crash out, and so it just didn't work, and so we didn't buy it. Then we bought one off of the eBay, and I believe it was like $140 with a couple games. Thanks, guys. Appreciate all the comments. And so we bought a couple, from eBay, we bought one, Nintendo NES, got it mailed to us, and it had the red light of death. It wouldn't turn on for anything. So we mailed that one back, and then we bought another Nintendo from eBay, and it didn't work either. So we mailed that one back. So that was 3 Nintendos that didn't work. Then the fourth one we bought, it was pretty expensive. It was like $200, and that one got one that finally worked. However, when you put the Nintendo cartridges in, the games would get stuck in there, and it was hard to get the games in and out. However, the Nintendo did work, and we could play the games. However, we was nervous that the games would get permanently stuck in there. And so anyway, then so I did some research, and he said about the top loading NES, which I didn't know existed until like 2 months ago. They was released about the same time the Super Nintendo was released. And so we ordered off eBay, we ordered one. It was only like $120. Came with a couple games. So we ordered that one and it showed up and the eBay seller mailed it with no bubble wrap, no protection at all. Just put it right in a box and mailed it. And I was like, couldn't believe that. I was kind of shocked. And we plugged that one in and it didn't work. And so, so the top-loaded Nintendo didn't work, and we was like, "What the heck?" And so we was getting ready to give up on the whole Nintendo NES experience and send them all back. And I found one more that was on. Then I did some more research. I probably did about 80. I did about 80 hours of research, or so, give or take. And but I found out the Nintendo NES. The modded version with the AV imports, they say with the top loading Nintendo is the most reliable. And then they say the AV mods, because they say with the top loader Nintendo, it has the RF connection and it don't get the best picture quality and it gets bad sound quality. And so, but I like the reliability factor. And then they say the AV mods gives it a better sound quality and picture quality. And so we saw one on eBay and we ended up buying it. We sent got the refund on all the other Nintendos and we paid about 200, and I think it was like, we paid quite a bit, about $250, but it came with the top loader NES Nintendo with the modded AV inputs. And it came with the dog bone controller. It came with the light gun, the zap gun, and an extra controller in the game. So it came with it was a nice little bundle, but it was pretty expensive though. However, after trying 7 other Nintendo consoles, this is the best console ever. And it's highly recommended. If you wanted to buy a Nintendo in 2025, 2026, I would say definitely buy a top-loaded Nintendo with the AV mods. It has a better, out of all the Nintendo consoles that we tried, the top-loaded with the AV mods has the best picture quality, the best graphics, and by far the best sound. Now, even the original Nintendo that we got to work, it had 2 plugins. It had the yellow plug-in and it had the red plug-in for the sound and for the picture quality. However, the AV mod top-loaded Nintendo, it has all 3 wires. It has the yellow wire, the white wire, and the red wire. And plugging all them in to the back of the Nintendo and into the Sony Triton CRT TV, it's a huge noticeable difference. The picture quality and the sound quality is off the chain, and with the top loading Nintendo, the games are more reliable. Like, you don't have to sit there and wiggle the games around and do all that. You put the game in, you push power, boom, the game comes on. So that's my experience with the top loading Nintendo. And so if you had any concerns, because this retro gaming is really hot, even though they say a lot of the retro gaming is cooling off the market, which is, I guess, a good time. Right now would be a good time to buy a retro gaming system, because it's a lot on the market and it's a lot of the prices that's going down. So if you was interested in retro gaming, I think now would be a good time to buy. A lot of the markets are starting to get softened with the collectible markets. And so I would think it's gonna be a good time to buy. You could buy a AV modded Nintendo for $250 or less. If you really take your time, you could probably get one for $200. And if you know anything about soldering and how to work on these consoles, you could actually buy a Nintendo NES top loader for about $120 and to buy the piece that you need to modify it is like 20 bucks. So really you could have the save system, the save console that I have for approximately $150. If you have any kind of skill at all, they got YouTube videos that you can watch and stuff. So you can actually get it for a lot cheaper than that if you're patient. You guys are funny. You guys comments. I really appreciate all the comments, guys. Uh, so, but yeah, so that's my experience with the Nintendo NES top loader with the AV mods. It's such a good experience. And I'm so happy that I sold my PlayStation 5 and I bought the Nintendo NES top loader with the AV mods. And then the Sony Triton CRTV that we bought, we only paid $25 for it. And so it's just like such a good experience. I'm having so much fun playing the retro gaming system compared to the PlayStation 5. It's a lot more fun. The sound's better, and even the colors are better. Now the retro gaming systems are comparable to the retro movies. Like if you watch movies from the 1950s, the 1930s and stuff like that, they'll have a better picture quality than the movies that's come out now because they use a higher quality film material. So they'll have like deeper reds, deeper dark colors. And also when people are moving, it'll be more clarity. And now when you have moving images now, it's it's more of a blur actually. So the older technology is actually better. And a lot of that has to do with the film quality that it was recorded on. And then when you have to send it over digital networks, they really lose a lot of quality. And it's the same thing with the video games. If you Google search it, you'll see that the regular Nintendo NES played on a CRTV actually has better quality than a PS5 on an LCD TV in many ways, as far as like the colors and and when they're moving and stuff like that. So it definitely has some advantages. Just like the older movies, if you watch movies from the 1930s, 1940s, 1950s, a lot of them movies are going to be better quality than the movies that's coming out in 2025. And the same thing with retro video games. If you play games from the 1980s, a lot of them games will be better quality than the games that come out in 2025. Of course, you know, you'll have definitely have some graphical improvements, you know, comparatively. Like if you look at the MLB The Show 2025 and you compare that to RBI Baseball 3, the MLB The Show 2025 will have better graphics. However, the Nintendo version will have deeper colors, more colors, and when they're moving, it'll be less of a blur. So that's just from my experience and my research and everything that I looked up. So, but anyways, guys, yeah, I'm heading to church. Get ready to pull up to the church now. About to have a nice little service. Always enjoy the Sunday service, but I appreciate you guys, all the comments and all the likes and all the new subscribers. And also, I started doing a new thing with my YouTube channel where I'm doing episodes of all the different retro games. And so far we have like 20 or so NES Nintendo games. And we just ordered like, I don't know, 15 more. So we're gonna have like 35 different NES games, and then we plan on getting like a new game a week. And but every game we're gonna do an episode on it, and we're gonna do a live video of us playing the game. And so I think that's gonna make pretty interesting content. So far we did, we're on episode 2. The first episode was, we did a Zelda episode, and then we did a Baseball Stars episode, and then this afternoon, we're probably going to do a Mario 3 episode. So that should be fun. So if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe and turn your notifications on so you can get notified when we go live. And so you guys can check out the retro gaming. We appreciate all the comments and all the views. And hope you guys have a nice day. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.